How are you? I'm sure in your industry that it is extremely busy because everyone wants to look absolutely fabulous for the holidays, right? So before we get started, I do a lot of workshops with kids and also adults. And I decided that it's early in the morning and I'm going to do the same thing that I do with my kids. And it's to get all the wiggles out. Okay, so I know it sounds kind of fun, kind of different, but if everyone would stand up. And I just want you to shake everything out. Shake it all out. Shake it. There you go. There you go. Okay. And now you can sit down. And I learned this technique a long time ago. It was really simple. I realized someone was told me that she goes, "Have you ever been driving and you realize how tense you are? And if you just kind of flap your arms like this, how much you relax?" Did anybody feel them shift a little bit as far as like you just feel a little more relaxed, a little more in tune? Okay. So that's something that I do on a regular basis because I think we all get busy and stressed, and sometimes I've driven 5-10 miles and I haven't even taken a breath. And I realize that I'm, it's like, oh, I gotta relax. So you might be able to do that technique. And it also, when I work with the kids, it's always nice to use the word wiggles because they all have wiggles, and they all can't, their attention spans just aren't as long as ours. Now, the next thing I always have people do is, and I do this with all of the adult workshops as well, is I have everyone put their feet flat on the floor, if you would, and your arms in your lap, not crossed, and I want you to close your eyes. And I just want you to breathe a little bit, deep breaths. I want you to release anything that you brought into this space that happened prior. I want you to release anything that you're thinking about that you need to do after this is over. And just bring yourself here in this moment, in this time and space, to be open to being with your coworkers, to bring your essence for everyone here to appreciate and enjoy. And then I would like you to set an intention for either this time and space or maybe for the rest of the week, for the rest of the year. And when you've set that intention and you feel comfortable, take one last deep breath. Let it all go. And open your eyes. How did that feel? Good? Okay. I always, I also tell my kids and a lot of friends, you can do that anywhere, at any time. And if it's that you need to maybe step aside, let's say you're in a conversation with someone or you're in an environment, you're like, I just need a break. You can go into the bathroom, close the door of a stall and stand there with both feet planted on the floor, hands on the side, at your side, and just take 60 seconds. Okay, so thank you very much. Did that feel, so everyone is ready for this moment in time. Thank you for having me come. This is, little do you know, this is such a blessing to me because, yes, I design jewelry, but I learned a long time ago that it's not about the jewelry and it's never been about the jewelry. And so this is an opportunity for me to come in and share a little insight into why it's, it's so much bigger than the jewelry. And it's so much bigger than you cutting someone's hair, doing someone's nails, massage. It's so much bigger. And a little bit about me, my name is Erin Paige Stegman. A lot of people just know me as Erin Paige because of my jewelry. Stegman is my married divorce name, and I kept it because I have a wonderful and beautiful boy that is 6'3" and is 15 years old. And what a blessing. I believe one of his purposes in life was to come into this world to help heal me. And I can explain that to you later if you'd like to hear that story. I would like to share a little bit about me, and then I can kind of incorporate that into how you guys can propel yourself into, a great end of the year and the beginning of 2017. So I was born in 1973. I'm 43 years old. I was born to a middle-class family that I wanted really for nothing, and I was loved. I just can't say enough. Were we perfect? Absolutely not. A lot of people probably think from the outside that we were the perfect family. Not so, but I think that is typical probably in a lot of situations. And I embrace that because I learned a lot of compassion, a lot of kindness, and all of that. So, and we still are a very close family, and we're still not perfect. And I actually love that even more so today as an adult. So fast forward to college. At the age of 19, I was raped. It was an acquaintance rape, and it was only my second sexual experience, so it was pretty traumatic. And I turned to, alcohol became my best friend. Interesting relationships were brought forth because of that. My attention went somewhere else, and the pain went somewhere else. After I finally admitted that to my parents, they got me the help that I needed. And fast forward to 10 years, I am 29 years old, and I finally went through the final stage of healing. And a therapist told me that, and he congratulated me because it felt like I had shed a brand new skin. I could feel it was like flaking off of me. I was like, wow, this is what is happening to me. And it was the final stage is letting go of the unconscious. Well, at that time, the reason why I was in therapy is because I had a 6-month-old, and I had found out from my best friend at the end of a jewelry party. She was kind of hovering off to the side, and I didn't understand why until she came up to me. She goes, I can't take it any longer. He's not going to tell you. And my husband was having an affair. Well, as that middle class family, Girl Scout, Gold Award recipient, all that kind of, I'll just use the word shit. That shit doesn't happen to me. It rocked my world again. So I wasn't going to work. I was going to do exactly what my mom did. As soon as she had me, I was going to stay at home. Well, guess what? There was another plan for me. So that was at 29. Ended up getting involved with someone for 4 years. And then at the age of 39, we got married, and 8 months later we got an annulment. So, what divorce wasn't going to happen to me, and to have it happen twice, wow, that really, kind of knocked me on my butt for a while. But I don't have regrets, okay, because those 4 years that I spent with that gentleman, and he is who he is. I have absolutely no ill will towards him. I embrace him. I love him. I just love him under a different title and a different angle. I call it my 4-year awakening, because at that time I started turning inward and really listening to what was right for me. And it has propelled me. I love that word, propelling, because it's kind of like, the airplane. It starts out kind of slow, and then it goes, and then just kind of, that's what lifts you up. So that moment in time helped propel me to the person that I am today. And there was a reason why, I look back, there's a reason why I was designing jewelry, and I had started painting again, and I was painting hearts in an unfinished basement of what my son at the age of 9 called our mansion. When I told him we had, well, we've got to leave, he goes, well, there goes our mansion. And I said, yes, you're right. We will have to move to a smaller place. But let me ask you a question. I said, is this mansion full of love? And you guys, without a split second, he goes, no. And I said, okay, here's the promise that I will make to you. Yes, we may live in a smaller home, but those 4 walls will ooze so much love that people that come in will feel more loved when they leave. And about a year later, he was with his dad on a weekend, and I stood in my townhome at the island in the kitchen, and I looked around and I went, oh, I did it. I did it. And so I share all of that kind of timeline with you because I believe, and my mom and I talk about it all the time, that every single person goes through the exact same things. We all deal with health, relationships, financial, we all deal with those. It's just it's just the intensity in which it happens, because sometimes some people have financial issues that are really devastating, and some seem to have very little. Health issues, some people deal with some pretty traumatic health issues, and some people don't. It's all in the severity in which it happens and the time in which it happens. And that's taught me a lot of compassion. And I think probably in your business, you probably hear a lot of stories, and people come in and they want to relax, it's their time, and they tell you all kinds of different things. And I bet there's some things that you can relate to as well. So that timeline that I shared with you, it's my hope that there's little bits and pieces that you might be able to pick up on that might relate to you. Now, how did I make it through? So those 4 years that I mentioned, that 4-year awakening, it was a level of awareness. And I'm going to talk about three A words. So that might help you propel yourself into a successful 2017. Awareness. I started becoming aware of who I am, what I wanted to become, what I wanted to get rid of. I started paying attention to what my body was telling me. What was truth? What was the illusion? And a lot of times with the awareness, I like to take myself out. I wrote an article for a parent magazine, and I said, there's times with my son when he'll be doing his homework, and it's like I take myself out of the situation, like I'm watching a movie or a television show, and I just sit and I watch him. And it's so cool. And oh my gosh, I just want to sit and watch him. Well, that's the same thing that I do sometimes in different scenarios and different situations. I'll take myself out of it and go, okay, I'm still there, but what's really going on? It's a whole different perspective. So then when I put myself back in the situation and through the television, as set, then I have a different perspective, I have a different attitude, I'm able to handle it differently. And a friend used the word interesting once. She's like, maybe you need to think of it as interesting. And that's my biggest thing. And you'll probably, if you ever sit and we have coffee or something like that and you're telling me something, you'll probably hear me say, well, that's interesting. And it's a different way, it's wording. It's a different way to approach it instead of going, this sucks. Oh my God, I cannot believe that just happened to me. Or, oh my gosh, that's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. I want that to happen to me again. I like to use, and you're welcome to use it just like I borrowed it from a friend. Wow, that was interesting. What did that mean? What happened in that moment that made me feel that way? What happened in that moment that made me feel good? Because I want to do that again. Or, I love the word cattywampus. And sometimes I feel, you feel like you're in the tube trying to inch your way out. Like, God, I feel really cattywampus. That was a really cattywampus, and I just don't feel right. But how interesting. What lesson is in that moment that I can take and I can change? So awareness. So that happened, that was a huge aspect of that timeline, and especially those 4 years. And I really have paid attention to that. And now I can really pretty much be in any situation. I can go, okay, I know exactly what to do. It takes practice. It takes practice. It took me 5-6 years to get to the point that I'm at today. So once you're aware, then the second A word is action. So you don't feel right. You feel a little cattywampus, or you feel really great. So as you know, goals are great if you write them down. and that's the first step, but if you don't take action, then they're just words. So action. So you don't feel right, okay, what do I need to do next time? What's the action that I need to do to make it work out better for me the next time? So I become aware and I go, okay, interesting. Now, the next time that happens to me, I'm gonna do what? And you can list those out. And let's just say, let's use this environment. Okay, let's say you want to improve your client list in 2017, right? You become aware of that. You really take a hard look at your business or maybe something in your personal life, and you go, okay, now I'm aware. So what's the action that I'm going to take in 2017? So once you have those actions, the third A word is accountability. You have to hold yourself accountable. And if I had to hold myself accountable, not to put myself in that same situation. I don't want to be divorced 3 times. I don't want to compromise what works for me and I want my needs to be met in the next relationship, long-term relationship that I choose to be in. Okay? So accountability. So you've got the awareness, you've got the list of actions. How are you going to hold yourself accountable? Are you going to do it on your own, or are you going to have an accountability partner? Maybe it's a best friend, because sometimes it's good to share, and it's all dependent on what works best for you. Because I have some things that I don't share with other people, and little does my son know, the calendar in the hallway has little marks on it. He doesn't know what those marks are. That's for me, but it keeps me accountable on the calendar. And I can go back and go, yep, it's been 5 days. I can go another 6. I can go 6, and then I can go 7. So accountability, whether it's from this meeting, maybe next month, everyone, it's just a suggestion, I don't know. You take those 3 A words and you go around and at least just go, Manuel, how did those 3 A words work for you the last month? And yay, nay, whatever. Or if you want to share 1 or 2, I don't know, it might be an activity for you guys to do. So accountability. And the last thing is allowing yourself to let it all go so it can flow. Don't be resistant. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on, should I pick up the phone? Should I call Carrie? Should I remind, I called her and I know she's busy, but should I call and, ask again if it's okay if I bring my jewelry down or that I'm still interested? What's the worst thing she can say to me? No. Okay, thank you very much, I'll move on. Because I love to say, if you don't ask, you don't know. K-N-O-W. And if the answer is no, at least you know. Because isn't it the worst thing when you're sitting around going, well, I just don't know I don't know if she likes my stuff or not. Just ask. Just ask. Because then you can move on. If the answer is no. Or if the answer is yes, awesome. Okay? Let's expand that. So don't be resistant. Pay attention, be aware. Take some action. And don't be afraid of that either. Be accountable. And in the very end, allow, I love that word, allow everything to flow as it should. And that's, I encourage you guys to step back, maybe write some things down, write some goals down, and just be open to all the possibilities. Be open to all the possibilities, and I wish you all the success in 2017, because I know I'm very excited about 2017, because as I said at the very beginning, this is my life's purpose. The jewelry is just an offshoot. I started out with the jewelry, but through that discovery and awareness and paying attention to what was going on when I was creating, has brought me to this place. And I just can't thank you enough for the opportunity and the blessing to be here today. So does anybody have any questions or any clarification or comments?
Yeah, comment. Firstly, you're really good. This is great. Are you familiar with the Moth Radio Hour or TED Talks from NPR?
Yes, I am.
You are great.
Well, thank you.
That was you into Brene Brown? I mean, have you read her
I
stuff?
haven't
Lesson
read her stuff,
Release.
but I've listened to her.
You're
Yeah.
really good.
Thank you.
You're really inspirational.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do great luck.
That's
You
know
may
what?
already have,
Hey,
I don't
that's
know.
well, I did
You're-
put together and I've copyrighted a journal. It's called See the Good,
Awesome.
and I have them at I have a few more. So I didn't know how many people would come here today, but when I have those remade, my gift to you guys is I will drop those off for you, so you can have one. And it's just See the Good, and there's little See the Good projects, just to remind you, like, you know, look at someone that you love and just gaze at them for a while. They don't need to know. Just gaze at them for a while, and aren't they awesome? Aren't they awesome? My son, you know, talk about, you know, getting your hair cut. My son had his hair cut on Monday night. And I was sitting there and I just was like, I wrote it on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, EP by Design, on Twitter and Facebook. But I posted this picture of me, just kind of like this profile of me looking, and it was the God's truth. I was gazing at him going, oh, he's so. And the reason why it was so awesome is because he's 15 years old. He's an old soul anyway. We had the best conversation about college. I mean, people are like, oh, he's a senior. I go, no, he's a freshman.
Wow.
He's ready. And one of these days he's going to have his own car. He's going to be able to drive himself to his appointments all by himself, and he's not going to need me for that. He'll always need his mama. But I was so excited for him because of that moment. Look at your partner. Look at your kids. Look at your best friend. And be excited for them. Be excited for them, because their presence in your life is a blessing to you. But by sending that positive vibe to them, they're going to feel it whether they know it or not. And I loved gazing at him and going, wow, the hairdresser used to come, or the stylist used to come to me and go, is that enough? And now I go, it's all him. Whatever he wants, I don't care. And he was making that decision on his own. How exciting. How exciting it is from a mother's standpoint, but then I watch my friends that I've had conversations with, and then I see them making changes in their life, and I go, that's what I was talking about. I'm so excited for them. Be happy for other people, because that's the blessing for you. Okay? Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it, Richard.
Great.
Anyone else? Comments? Or I can take it. Okay, well, thank you. And I hope that the rest, we've got 15, 16 more days in December. And I would challenge you, give yourself like a 30-day challenge, so you'll finish up 2016 and that'll get you into 2017, to really take a moment or two, that 60 seconds in the bathroom stall, and just become aware of what's working for you and what isn't, and what you want to change. And how you're going to change it, write it out. And then if you feel comfortable, go to your friend and say, you know what, I don't want to share the whole list with you, but I want you to hold me accountable. I've got, my house. Let's take it outside. Let's work. My house needs this, and this done to it. And you know what? Anymore, I just don't like going into my house. And I'm kind of speaking for myself, because I'm like, okay, my house needs new energy. I mean, this is the place that I come to every day. At the end, I want to come home and feel good. Okay, so the leaky faucet that I refuse to do, you know what? That's what I'm going to do this weekend. Then the next weekend. So there's 4 activities, that you could do in your house on a weekend. It doesn't have to be very long. But how good would that feel if those 4 things were knocked off the list? Then you can add another 4, and then another 4, and you can go through the entire year and keep improving. Just, inch by, my ex-mother-in-law used to say, inch by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. And that's the truth. Little by little. Yeah. So what I have for you guys, if you would like, I wrote this out because really my main theme, and I'm going to start a podcast as well called Love Life Dream Bigger. And that's the last thing I'm going to say, is that by doing these few things, And a lot of other things, maintaining my health and et cetera, et cetera. But paying attention to these things, I love my life. I love my life. It's not perfect. And there's some pretty crappy things that have happened to me, but I love it, and I love every single part of it. I really do. I love every single part of it, because there was something that I learned that brought me to this place. And then I'm able to dream bigger than I've ever dreamt before. It's like I always tell people, well, dream big. You hear that? Dream big. Okay, then dream bigger. And then dream even bigger. James Cameron once, after Avatar and all of that, I saw an interview with him, and he goes, I set the bar so high that it's insurmountable. I could never achieve that goal. He goes, but what happens is that I get pretty darn close. And if I had set the bar this high and easy and know that I could, attain it, then I wouldn't have reached it this high and I wouldn't have pushed myself. So I always, I'm like, dream bigger. If you want to be in 20 stores, if I want to be in 20 stores with jewelry, let's make it 40, because guess what? I might be in 35. So, love life and dream bigger. I was in the car just recently, and I'm a big visual person, and I love sunsets and sunrises and all that good stuff. And I was listening to some really fun music by We Are Lucky People. I don't know if you've heard of that group, but it's really a great group. And that's when I kind of was brought to tears a little bit, and I was like, I love my life! Oh my gosh! If you don't love your life, you're crazy. You're crazy. Because there's so much goodness. So, love your life. Love your life. It's short. And here's a little magnet with one of my paintings. Oh, and if you want my card. You guys can call me, email me, or if you know any other groups that would
Thank you.
appreciate what I have to say, I would love to hear. And that's all I've got. All good?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.